Yeah, okay, it's Tea with Gary Vee, sipping empathy. I know patience is the key, putting out all of my shit for free. This is Tea with Gary Vee. Might go make a flip, take a risk.
Good morning. It is Tea with Gary Vee on this April 30th in 2020, right? 20. Tomorrow is the first day of May, and so this is the last day of April. And so let's get right into the show. Jeremy, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Gary?
Looking good.
Dude, this is awesome. Truly an honor and privilege just to get on. This is really cool.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, so my question revolves around ad spend on social media.
Okay.
I recently published a book back in mid-January is when it went live or for sale on like Amazon and everybody. And this was book was kind of a story about my experiences as a kid being bullied and what I went through, and then kind of evolved into discussing a little bit about how it affected me later on in life, and then what my thoughts are on how to fix the epidemic, which is just growing and growing every year. I'm in probably 2/3 of the way done with my second book, which is, going to cover some topics about all of the failures in my life, everything from, when I started out, I was going to write about all the failures of managers and bosses that I ever worked for and kind of point the finger saying, here's how this guy screwed up. And, I was going to say why that was wrong and here's how they should have acted. And then I realized that was ridiculous to me to try to write something like that. And I actually, after watching a lot of your content, I really changed my whole perspective on that and said, all right, here's everywhere
Jeremy, on that point, were you able to see the attractiveness of accountability?
Yes. Actually, you know what it was? I want to say probably, and the second book was the first one I started writing. But as I started to write that book, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm about to explain how all these things failed. Why have I failed at so many different things? And that's when I kind of did a lot of soul searching and went and wrote my first book about my bullying experiences. But it was, I want to say January of last year in 2019, I was, I think I was at the gym running on a treadmill or something, and or I was out for a run, I don't know. But I was listening to one of your keynotes in my headphones as I'm running. And I want to say it was probably a keynote you did in Singapore or Philippines, somewhere. I think it was overseas, I believe. And I don't know what the show was or the conference was, but in the middle of it, you're addressing all these entrepreneurs and you were making the point about accountability. And you said, look, everything that happens at VaynerMedia is my fault, 100%. And I can't remember. I just literally stopped what I was doing and I was like, holy shit. And then I really started listening to that and I was like, wow. And it just completely opened up everything for me. And
what's crazy about it is I actually genuinely mean it. I genuinely I really believe that, it's, it's empowering. People love the short-term good feeling of blaming someone else, but it leads to very, very, very bad long-term life. On the flip side, it's not fun to say this is fucked up because of me, but that's like a short-term pain, and long-term it's created incredible serenity and peace and happiness for me. I feel fully in control.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's like, you always used to say that, a lot of your haters say, who cares about Gary? He just says the same thing every time. Well, I don't think that's the point to make. The real point is you're consistent in your message. And that's what I loved about it. And, I took that to heart. And so the one I'm writing now is basically, I'm looking at things that I failed or dropped the ball on. And instead of pointing the finger at a boss who may have dropped the ball or treated me terribly, I can at least start to identify, here's what I should have did. And here's how I probably could have won in that situation.
Including some, you can't control people. And if you have a terrible boss, like maybe you just need to work somewhere else. And that's you taking control of it.
Yeah.
You know, I love your hoodie, and I love this. I love this country. I was born in the former Soviet Union, but like sometimes when people really get upset with America, I have a lot of empathy because their experience may be difficult. But I always remind them, like, you could move to Sweden. You could.
Sure.
You know, it seems extreme. It's like selling your home. You know, I know you, it sounds like you follow me. Like, I talk a lot about selling your home when you can't afford your lifestyle. It seems like when I started talking about it a year and a half ago, like the entire real estate community got upset with me, this and that. I was like, it's fine. People can be upset with me, but like, you could. Yeah, you know, like to me, I don't care about how money compounds or what the value of something is. If one's unhappy, there is no smarts behind it. I don't care that you make $1 million a year in this business. If it burns you to the ground in your emotions, it was a bad idea. You were better off, you know, doing this other thing for 73,000 a year. I mean, it's not super complicated. Yesterday I was on a big Australian radio show, and they were talking about like, I was talking about my optimism, and the DJ was like, man, you're a little too optimistic. He's like, what about all the death? I'm like, what about all the people that's lives have been saved by COVID? I mean, does the world realize that if COVID started 2 months earlier, Kobe Bryant would be alive?
Yeah.
Like, you know, do you know how many people die in traffic accidents every day in America? Do you know how low that number is right now because nobody's driving?
Crime rates are down, everything. Yeah.
Like, you know, like people are, you know, like, yes, there's incredible pain, and there's people who've passed specifically because of COVID, and they would have lived for another 50 years. And on the flip side, there's people that were going to die because like, and that's where I get into in my mind, which is like, it's just how you sit. And you were seeing it as like, it was Rick's fault and Stan's fault and Jay's fault. And then boom, one fucking sentence. And you're like, wait a minute. And that accountability leads to control, because when you think it's everybody else's fault, you feel so sad because you're like, fuck, they're in control. People don't understand control is the happiness. Control.
I hated my last corporate boss that I had before I left my job. I hated him because he was a true bully, and I didn't know how to deal with him. And what made it worse was the fact that I looked at this guy as he's affecting my, you know, not only just me, but my family's financial well-being. He's affecting whether or not, you know, everything. And so my hate for this guy grew more and more. And it's like, I look back on it now, I'm like, I could have handled this guy so much better. I lost a lot of my focus because I was just so focused on the fact that he didn't like me, and he didn't, you know, it seemed like he wanted to push me out the door. And, you know, I mean, a lot of guys in our team felt that way, but.
And I think what people don't understand is getting pushed out the door, AKA walking out the door, is a powerful move.
Yeah.
You know, and most people feel like that guy won. I don't, because when everybody walks out the door, that guy gets fired by what's above him.
Yeah.
People are confused. Every single person here is actually 100% in charge. This is a huge moment. I really appreciate you coming on. You're getting me going here. Like, this is like, I'm like really going down a path I want to. You're actually 100% in charge. You actually are. What is required to get out of the most difficult situations may feel super uncomfortable or not the ideology of how you saw it. But once you change your ideology, and once you stop putting something on a pedestal, a dream, a thought, an idea, and instead just living in the actual moment, you actually realize you're 100% in charge. You can move, you can get divorced, you can quit a job, you can do anything if you've got humility and confidence. If you have humility and confidence, you can do everything.
Mm-hmm. I believe that 100%. I think that's kind of the joy of being a small business owner too, that, you know, if whether it's a pizza shop or a media company or whatever it is you have, that you're the business owner, it's all on you. You know how many
people bought homes, cars, and went on vacations in the last 2 years that they couldn't afford on paper, and small business owners that are now blaming COVID, like, oh, see, the world hates me. I'm like, no, the world doesn't hate you. You had bad behavior. The last 4 years, you could have been saving money, and you could be using that money right now growing your business, but you took the money out of the business and you bought a Porsche.
100%.
I know.
Well,
I know.
You know, it's like the people right now. I've put out a couple comments on Facebook and Twitter here and there about, you know, all right, we're all on quarantine for the last almost 2 months now. What are we all doing? You know, I know most people are sleeping in, most people are just hanging out, and that's good to relax a little bit. But I also said, what better time to do something, try something? You know, it's not, I'm not saying everybody just needs to get out and start running 10 miles. It's, you know, is there a hobby you wanted to get into? Is there books you wanted to read, things that have been stacking up in your life that you haven't been able to do? Well, hello, this is the time.
There's so much one. Somebody hit me up the other day. It's like, Gary, I feel useless. I'm not doing anything. I want to get back. I have no money. I'm like, you could have retweeted the All In Challenge, Dustin. Like you're following me every day, watching 8 hours a day. I'm talking about this thing. I'm not even asking you for the $10 raffle ticket to go into my thing. You could just share it on your Facebook. And 99% of the people watching this every fucking morning have not even shared allinchallenge.com.
Right.
Like, because people don't get that they're in control. People talk shit, Jeremy. Oh, but I want to give back, but I don't have the resources. Sure you do. You have 14 followers on Twitter. That's called resources. You have 113, contacts in your cell phone. You can literally say, have you checked out this All In Challenge? You should buy a $10 raffle ticket. Every fucking person here could do that and feed somebody that's hungry. For all the fucking hundreds of emails I'm getting every day of, I wish I could be giving back right now. You can. It's not just money, it's awareness. There's a million, I don't get it.
You could go down that list of all of the challenges and just find one and say, hey, this challenge, my friend or cousin
Here's
or whoever.
Here's one. Every single person here, if you can go to the Instagram profile and the Twitter of your favorite celebrity, an athlete, and just say, hey, you should join the All In Challenge. Like James Harden might see that.
Yeah.
You're in control. My vote doesn't count. I don't have it. Like, everybody can make anything happen.
Yeah.
This is an incredible, it's called the internet. Accountability is the greatest drug in the world.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping that will reign true. And when I finish this book, and I don't know, hopefully another couple of weeks, I'll have it done and I can start editing and get it done.
And Jeremy, the best way to sell a book and be successful in that is to give away free content about the subject matter every day, 24 hours a day.
So, and it's funny, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I did is, I think, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, you started talking about TikTok. And at the time, I took exactly the attitude that you said we all would, which was, all right, that's for, teenage kids. I'm 48. I'm not going to get on TikTok. There's no way. But then I remember at one point, it was probably around Christmas time, you had said, hey, just get on it and watch it. Spend a couple weeks, a month, 2 months, whatever, and just watch and just keep scrolling and just what. And so I did that, and I was like, holy crap. Aside from all the dance, videos or whatever, there are a ton of people, especially older people. My favorite is all the parents in their 40s that are on it specifically to ruin it for their kids.
100%. 100%.
So, yeah. And I think probably last week I just started, I'd go out for a run and I'd get done and I'd have a thought in my head about something. I just put the camera on and just roll with it and then throw it up on TikTok and just to do it. And, I was very hesitant at first because it's a self-esteem thing. I'm putting myself out there. The exposure is what scares the crap out of me, and I'm sure everyone else. So, but I just did it and I started doing it. And I think that this is an excellent platform where I can, 60 seconds, don't have to worry about it. I mean, I have Final Cut Pro and I edit stuff and I'm like, I don't even need to do that. Just throw it on there. Forget about everything else.
Make it. I'm proud of you, Jeremy. I like where you're headed. Keep going.
Hey, so
please.
The last thing was regarding my question was on ad spend. So when my first book came out, I did a bunch of ads on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm trying to figure out LinkedIn and get that right. What I noticed, though, and after talking to my publisher, is that there's a 90-day lag between the purchase and sales data coming out. Like, so if somebody bought the book today, it'd be 3 months before I'd know that sale occurred.
The Amazon rank moves by the second. Your publisher's thinking old school. You can see the Amazon rank change by the second.
Oh, I didn't know. I got to make a note of that.
Yeah, if you look at your Amazon rank on your book rankings, you can get an indicator. It updates every hour on how your ad spend's doing.
Okay.
That's your answer.
That I didn't know. That'll be good to know. I did notice that when it first got put on Amazon in January, they had one copy in stock, which the publisher told me that's how it's going to be until it starts to sell. Now I think they're up to 11 or 12 in stock, which that's something. So it's
better
cool.
than zero.
Absolutely.
Run the ads, run content towards it, link all your social media accounts to the Amazon URL, all your default links in all your profiles.
Okay.
Make 10, 15 pieces of content a day and look at the Amazon rank every hour. There's your tactic.
I love you, man.
I love you back. See ya.
Thank you.
You know, it's funny, a couple things there to recap that call. One, as you saw in the last 18 seconds of that call, I can go tactics all day long. I spend 99% of my time on macro, because fixing the sink is not interesting if you don't have the well fixed, right? You can Google what I just said to him as like, how do you see if your ad spend is doing well on Amazon? It's the same thing with the people that are mad at me in the comments right now for interrupting. It's my style. Like I get what he's saying, and I'm trying to move to the point, and I'm trying to bring value to everybody. I understand what he's saying. The reason all the callers are so happy is they know that I understand what they're saying. I understand it might not be the best style. It might not be the, the kindest, or it might come off like I'm a douche or only want to hear myself speak. I understand everything you're saying. I promise you 100% of the fucking energy and focus is on value. We have an hour trying to get through and get as much as possible. The caller might not be upset. You might have not processed it, but I have. You're also more than welcome to do your own show. Plus, there's unlimited content of podcasters and interviewers who let people finish their entire thoughts. You can watch that unlimited. Everyone's got their own style, and the value comes if you really look second layer. Let's keep it going.